give it another second. It says live. I don't know if you could see it yet. Here we go. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rabbi Chernitsky, the People's Rabbi, Director of Chabad of Newfoundland. Always a pleasure to be here with you. So we're live now on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So we have our friends on Zoom. So what we did the first two classes is that we looked at the concise code of Jewish law, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, about the laws of Tzedaka. We also saw last class the 8 levels of Tzedaka as written by the Rambam Maimonides. And today we're going to begin looking at some of the letters and essays of the Lubavitcher about Tzedaka. I tried to find them in English, I wasn't able to, so we have here the Hebrew original. And so I'll read and translate. As last class, we'll try to keep it to maybe 15-20 minutes. It doesn't get too dense. All right, so here we go. Tzedaka v'taharasa, it's a title which means tzedaka in its purest form. Isa begemara, it says in the Talmud, Oman Moshe Lefnei Kadosh Baruch Hu, said Moses before God, Ribono Shalayla, Master of the universe, Bema Tarum Keren Yisrael, Amal Bekit Tisam. He asked God, how will the glory of the Jewish people be uplifted? And God said, with Ki Sisa, which refers to the Torah portion with such a name, which means when you will lift up, which speaks about the mitzvah, the command, to bring the mechatzis hashekel, to bring the half shekel, to be used for communal sacrifices, and other things. Part of that is that you could also count how many Jews there are. We don't have to count Jews 1, 2, 3. Rather, you need to use something else, so as not to bring upon the evil eye. So one of those ways is to have everybody give me half a coin, and then you divide you count all the half coins, then you know how many people there are. Okay, so now continuing studying the text. In Basel Sham that God was saying to Moses, we're going to come and count them with a money collection. Kach meihem koifel tzedakah. Take for them an atonement for tzedakah. Again, loosely, poorly translated as charity. So you see, this means shefapisha etzel Moshe mitzad atzmo yeshna shayla bemet tarum. Emra Kadosh Baruch Hu eitzel azeh alidei koifel tzedakah. Moses had a question: how can the Jewish people be uplifted? The glory of the Jewish people be uplifted? God says by giving tzedakah, by giving an atonement to tzedakah. So we have to understand better what that means. So here we have Mawa Chidush Mechatzis Shekel Shvaytanu Kenisos. So what's the novelty about the half shekel? That specifically with the half shekel, this is what uplifts the glory of the Jewish nation. But we need to understand. Mawa Chidush Bepasha Shkolim Bepasha Kisisa Legabi Matan Torah. What is the novelty in the part of the Torah, the parsha that speaks of the giving of the half shekel within the portion of the Kisisa? What's the novelty of that over the giving of the Torah? To the point that this specifically, the giving the half shekel accomplishes the lifting of the heads of the Jewish people, which elevates them even more than the spiritual level they were at when the Torah was given on Mount Sinai, which was before that. Yeah. When the Torah was given, the Jews became a nation of ministers and a holy nation. And also also became the chosen people and uplifted from all other languages, etc., etc. Yeah, so again, why specifically the half shekel is what uplifts the Jewish people more than their great spiritual standing of Matan Torah, for example. L'cha'era, seemingly, Hayav Shalom, would have been possible to say and explain, answer, Shebezeh Isa Shaila as Moshe, Mema Torum Keden Israel. That was exactly Moses' question. Yeah, how can the glory of the Jewish people be uplifted even more? After they already were so great and such a great spiritual level at the time of the beginning of the Torah, yeah, so Hashem answered, Hashem answered that the way to do that is by counting them, by taking a half shekel for tzedakah from each person. אבל אז היה צריך להישא שאלה, לא יבמה, אלא בלשון שהם כבר בנשיאת ראש וקובעים וכיוצא בזה. The only reason why we can't explain that this was Moses' question is because then he shouldn't have used the words bameh, which means with what, but rather his question would have been in a language that shows this very thing, right? The question would have been phrased in a way that expresses that the Jews are already in a heightened spiritual level. How can you raise them even further? And that's not the case, so that we cannot explain that that's how the back and forth went. So before we answer our original question, we'll ask more questions. Okay? We'll try to keep focused. Because here the Rebbe asks a question, or the Babcher asks a question on God's answer to Moses before we answer our original question of what's the concept of the half shekel lifting the glory of the Jewish people. Ha'inish tzedakah would davar sichli shehegam lifnei matan Torah. The concept of tzedakah is an intellectual concept, something that makes sense, and existed even before the Torah was given. Gam eitzel bnei Noach, even by the children of Noach who weren't Jewish, because on tzedakah depends the existence and harmony in the world. The Shevis Yitzhara, God created the world to be settled, to be established. There should be harmony and peace, and not fights and disharmony. And tzedakah keeps the world in that state. Okay, so even before Matan Torah, tzedakah existed. So in other words, it's not just regular tzedakah, right? If it was regular tzedakah, the half shekel, then it wouldn't lift the Jewish people any higher than they were at the beginning of the Torah, because tzedakah existed before the Torah was given too. And further, tzedakah chelek miteva bria. Tzedakah is part of the nature of creation. Yeah, it's not just the nature of humankind to be charitable, to be kind, to be generous. Even animals. Animals have mercy on their own children. And also on other animals. Okay, making our question stronger. Another more so. After the Torah is given. So before the Torah was given, there was a concept of tzedakah. Once the Torah is given, there is some mitzvah of tzedakah. It's not the same thing. Yeah? Before the Torah was given, people gave tzedakah, they gave money to help others, they were kind, they were generous. But that's not a mitzvah. A mitzvah is what connects you to the Almighty God, right? Mitzvah comes to the word tzavta, which means connection. So even though the concept already existed, it's not as powerful as the mitzvah. So all the more so, after the Torah is given, and then there's a mitzvah to give tzedakah, not just a concept. Ugemilus chasadim, an act of loving kindness. Hatoikev the tzivui Torah, which now has the strength of a Torah command. Not just something that makes sense and is part of the nature of creation, the way Hashem created us and created the animals even. As we're already commanded in the Parsha of Mishpatim, which is, by the way, 2 parshas from now. Yeah, it's a mitzvah to give somebody a loan. So the question that is asked, what is the novelty? The Nesinas Mechatzis a shekel, of giving the half shekel, koifer litzedakah, as an atonement for tzedakah. That specifically this is what uplifts the Jewish people, the glory of the Jewish people. Yeah. So they just made our question stronger. Yeah, because the concept of tzedakah always existed. When the Torah was given, it became stronger. Now it's a mitzvah, has the power of the Torah. But okay, so then what's so special now about the half shekel after the Torah is given that it could lift the Jewish nation up even higher than the word they given the Torah? So far, so good? Okay, good. If anybody has any questions, you could just you could write a comment. I might not be able to see it right now, but we'll address it later. Okay, so let's continue. Nesinas mechatzis shekel matveah shalish. They give a half shekel, which was a coin of fire. And we could potentially answer the question based on what our sages, Rasal, Rabbi Sina Zichron Libracha, our sages of sacred memory, bless the memory, said, and this is something that Rashi, one of the main commentators, quotes, on the verse, Zeitru mechatzis shekel, on that part of the Torah that we quoted, that speaks about the giving half shekel. Zeitnu mechatzis shekel, the Torah says, this is what they should give a half shekel. So our sages say, and Rashi quotes it, Hera loe kadosh baruch hu leMoshe. Hashem showed Moses, kemin matveya shel eish, like a coin of fire, umishkolo mechatzis shekel, and its weight was a half shekel. Ve'amar kaseidnu, I told him, like this they should give. Yeah, and all the commentators jump on this, like what's with the coin of fire? Why did you show him a coin of fire? Many explanations. But let's follow the Rebbe here. Through God showing a coin of fire, the Omar, and saying, Zeitnu, this is what they should give. Poal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'nazan koich v'gila, shemechatzis ha-shekel shebenisul yitnu oz, v'se nimshach b'mitzvah mechatzis ha-shekel b'chol ha-doidois, ein se stam nesinas ha-tzedaka al-yedei matveah gashmis, ela matveah shel-eish. So, through God showing coin of fire and telling Moses like this is what they should give, what God was doing is that He gave the strength and revealed that the half shekel that the Jewish people will give then and in every generation that they give the half shekel, because even today we give a half shekel. We do the mitzvah give a half shekel by giving half of the local currency. It's usually done on the fast of Esther, just before Purim. Yeah, and the money goes as a donation to the synagogue. But yeah, so it wasn't just that giving of tzedakah. Like there's tzedakah and the half shekel is also tzedakah. No, you're not just giving a physical coin. Rather, it's a coin of fire. Specifically, the half shekel is giving a coin of fire. So this means the coin of fire, that Hashem showed to Moses, that this is what they should give the Jewish people. That literally they should give a coin like this that's on fire. The Rebbe now explain what that means. Okay, that means you should light their coins on fire and then give them. But there's a deep spiritual idea of the coin being a fiery coin. And then our service of God, this means that giving a half shekel, not just giving to tzedakah, because again, this when once the Torah is given, there's a mitzvah to give tzedakah. Then why is giving half shekel so special? Because a half shekel is not just another excuse to give tzedakah, another campaign of tzedakah. Ela im islavus ve'eish shebenafshi. But rather, this is given with a fiery excitement and with the fire of your soul. In chayus v'islavus, with zest and with excitement. Chadur b'chamimus v'chayus, permeated with warmth and with life. Kach she'amatvei atzma naises eish, to the point that the coin itself becomes fire. Matvei shel eish, like it says that God showed most of the matvei shel eish, the coin of fire. Chadurei meish nafsh elokis, that's permeated with the fire of the godly soul. That's what's special about the half shekel. It's not just tzedakah. It's tzedakah that's on fire because you're on fire. Your soul is on fire. You give with a burning excitement, with a passion. But Pisa Yuvan, so according to this, we'll understand Gamachidush Menesina, the Koifel Tzedakah. Also, the novelty in saying that the half shekel is an atonement that's given to tzedakah. על ידי מחצית השקל. לגבי הצדקה שמצד השכל בשביל יישוב העולם, בטבע הבריאה. You can understand what's so special about the half shekel being an atonement for tzedakah over the concept of tzedakah, which makes sense, and this is necessary for the world to continue to exist in a peaceful way, and also higher than the nature with which God instilled in us, and even in animals, to be generous and kind. And how the half shekel is even higher than the mitzvah to give tzedakah that came before the mitzvah of half shekel. Because giving it of the half shekel was not just another tzedakah, not because it made sense, not because of the nature with which we were created, and not even because the Torah says so, as the mitzvah tzedakah, ela nesina shel matvei shel eish. Rather, the half shekel is special because you're giving a fiery coin. You're giving a coin by not just giving it, you're giving with a zest, you're giving with enthusiasm, with the whole fire of your soul. Okay? So I think we're going to stop over here so it doesn't get too dense for one class. We'll continue, God willing, next week, next Wednesday, with this next part. As the Rebbe keeps building on this idea, even though we already answered the question, right? We asked, what's so special about the half shekel? There was already a mitzvah of tzedakah. There was already a concept of tzedakah before the Torah was given. And we answered, because the half shekel is not just a half shekel, but it's a fiery coin. It's a coin that you give with a fire, with a passion, with enthusiasm. So the Rebbe is going to continue building on this idea of what's special about it. And for that, you'll have to join us next week. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm Rabbi Chernitsky, the director of Chabad of Newfoundland. You could leave us a comment here or send us an email, rabbi@newfoundland@gmail.com. You could also check out our website, rabbi@newfoundland.com. Have a good